All right, it is 11:07. We're going to call the Electric Utility Board meeting to order for August 16th, 2022. Mayor?
We are called to order also. It is 11:07. What's today? The 16th? August 16th, 2022. And I think you're calling to next public comments, correct?
Yes, sir. Do we have anyone signed up? Nope. All right, take us to... We are now recessing into executive session in accordance with 1 BTCA Government Code 551.086 on competitive matters of LP&L, 2 BTCA Government Code 551.071 seeking the advice of and consultation with Lubbock Power and Light's attorneys on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Government Code and seeking advice of its attorneys about pending or contemplated litigation or settlement offers, and 3, VTCA Government Code 551.074, deliberate the appointment of a public officer or employee, and 2, deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, and/or duties of a public officer or employee. We are now in executive session.
All right, City Council will also hold an executive session today for the purpose of consulting with city staff regarding the following: competitive matters of public power utilities under Section 551.086 of the Texas Government Code, pending or contemplated litigation or settlement offers, and hold consultation with attorney under Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code, and personnel matters under Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code.
Be next door. Okay, it is 1:03. We are reconvening an open session. Item 7, we need to approve the minutes of the regular Electric Utility Board meeting on July 19, 2022, and special meetings on July 25th, 2022, and August 9th, 2022.
Second.
And a motion and a second. All those in favor do so by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by the same. That one carries. Item 8, Mr. Abbey.
How do you turn this thing on? How do you turn the mic on? You're good. Is it on? Okay, good. It's always the first thing that I forget. Good afternoon, everyone. We promised to have a rather short meeting this afternoon as a payback for the lengthy one that you had last time, so we appreciate you all bearing with us. Starting out in item 8, it's pretty noteworthy, or newsworthy, I'll say. We had about 27 news events that happened last month. Our Matt Rose is our man about town. He's the most beloved person that we have in Lubbock Power and Light, believe it or not, contrary to what you might hear otherwise. But Matt is doing a fantastic job of getting out and telling the community these are the things that you can do to save money during these times of high bills and whatnot, and trying to get people focused on their consumption rather than just the bill itself. And the fact that LP&L is electric and not trash and water and everything else, but Matt's doing a great job. On August 2nd, Jenny Smith, myself, Clint Gardner, took a trip down to Austin, a day trip, to go visit with the Retail Market Subcommittee. This is a group that's comprised of all the investor-owned utilities, the retail electric providers. They've even got other municipalities that sit on this board, and co-ops, so that it's a fair representation of the entire market within ERCOT. The purpose of that visit was to introduce Lubbock and Lubbock Power and Light to this group. I'll say that we were very well received. They were looking forward to taking our customers from us at some point in the future, but that's what this move is going to be about at the end of next year. So we're working very closely and very well with this group. Michael Weingart is going to be on the task force that's associated with RMS, Retail Market Subcommittee. And so we're going to be working through a lot of different things with this group. And for example, our pro forma tariff, we're trying to get it redesigned to fit. It was originally done in 2001, 2002, and it hasn't been touched since then, but the market has changed. And it's as it applies to municipals like us. So there are no other municipals like us in the market, and so that's why it's never been touched. So we're trying to facilitate a program where people can give us what their feedback is on the changes we believe we need to make to the pro forma tariff. And then hopefully we can present that to the Public Utilities Commission and then they can expedite approval, getting that moved through if everybody's already in agreement for how this works. So that's one of the big benefits we're going to get out of it. They are being very benevolent with their time to talk with us on how the market is working, the things we need to be looking out for, the practices, the tactics that we need to be putting into place in order to start getting ready to pick things like the polar voluntary reps and things like that. So hopefully at the next meeting, we're going to have a really good discussion on what that process to pick these entities might look like, and then we can start that process going down the road of actually making the selections and getting that going. So I know Jamie and her group are anxious to get the REPs named and known so that we can start working on testing with them next year sometime. So it's all starting to come together, and I love it when a plan comes together. Just a little public service announcement. There are a couple of board members, names to remain anonymous, who have not completed their cybersecurity training. I'm going to look at you two kind of, oh, okay, there's another one. If you would, please, this is mandatory training that we
When
need
was
to
that?
have.
Did we get an email on it?
I think they're in your inboxes today.
I asked
Oh,
Olivia.
I mean, I got to blame someone else. I mean, who was it that sent it to me?
I asked Olivia to resend the link to whoever has not taken it.
Ask Olivia, because I think last year when I took mine was a 2-year pass.
That was probably 2 years ago.
No, it's annually. I just give it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good try.
If I can interject real quick, they should be in the city email addresses.
Got to remember that password too.
It's one of you two or not, or both of you. I'm not sure. Okay, all right. If you get an email, please take it. Last announcement, there is a tour of the business office next door, just right after this meeting is over. If you want to go, please attend. They're all waiting for you. They've been waiting for you for a couple hours, actually. Our fault. As usual, we got all the stats and everything in the board packet. If you've got questions about anything from a performance standpoint, from my standpoint, it just outlines the great work that staff has been doing over the past month and continues to do month in and month out. But if you got any questions, certainly we've got enough experts in the audience here that can help us get to the bottom of those. And then beyond that, we've got an announcement from our general counsel.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to introduce you all formally to Tom Jennings. Thank you, Tom. Tom is a recent graduate of the University of Oklahoma College of Law. He went to Marquette University for his undergrad, grew up in the Chicago area, and he's had some prior experience both in construction and facilities management. So I'm very excited to have him on board. Today is day 2. So he started just yesterday with us, so we're excited to have him here. I think he's getting introduced to everybody pretty quickly, and I'll certainly put him to work pretty quickly. So thank you.
Welcome, Tom. I think that brings you to item 9. No? Good afternoon, Chris.
Good afternoon. Just a quick update that we are continuing our first strategic planning process in at least 20 years. And with a lot of stakeholders, of course, you being stakeholders, and being involved in this process. And I believe we have, maybe I can just tap that. Just wanted to remind you of our timeline that we're looking at for doing our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis. We'll close this week, and then next week we'll take time to review the surveys. And then the following week we'll begin an analysis called a TOES analysis, to put a plan in action on what we can actually do with identifying our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And with that, any questions?
Questions? Thanks, sir. Item 10, I believe Casey.
How are y'all today? Harvey, do you have the clicker? Okay, I'll do it that way. Okay, I just want to start off by saying that our financial presentation is going to look a little different than it usually does. I really wanted to kind of make it more comprehensive and just talk about the the things that actually matter rather than going through every line item, and stuff that doesn't change and stays the same all the time. So getting started, I have both of our balance sheet and our cash flows on here. And the reason that I did that is because if you look at our cash compared to last month, we do have a decrease of $6.3 million. Now, $3 million of this was CIP spending that hasn't been refunded by bonds yet, and we expect to see that in the July financials. But $3 million of this, $3.1 million to be exact, is from our under-collected position. So if you look at our balance sheet, we have moved that under-collection up to a receivable. And then if you look at our cash flows for the operating cash, we are negative $3.1 million. So that's going to be a direct result of the under-collected position. Now, this is going to be due to just our higher purchase power cost. I have been talking about how our under-collection is going to grow over the summer months. So we're going to continue to see this in July and August. So I just wanted to go ahead and bring it up now because, that number is going to get bigger. In our receivables, those have gone up $9 million. This isn't because people just aren't paying their bills. They are. This has to do with, first of all, the higher bills due to the heat and the higher usage. And, we accrue back our metered revenue from the month before or the month after. So this would be the first 15 days of July. Usually that accrual is around $7 to $8 million. For the first 15 days of July, because of the heat, it was $13 million. So that gets accrued back to receivables, so that's going to blow it way up. This is going to happen in July, too, with the first 15 days of August. I've already looked into it. So don't be alarmed. People are paying us. It's just that accrual. And, there's going to be a lag time on when we actually see payments on those bills. It's going to be towards the end of July, 1st of August, when money actually starts coming in. And lastly, on the AR, on budget billing, we're going to have those payoff balances starting to increase too with the increased usage, but the customer's set on a budgeted amount. So that kind of hangs out in AR until either the customer pays it off or that credit starts to get eaten up in the colder months. And then for our liabilities, that increase there is, it's all going to be due to our accrued interest payable. Nothing else in our liabilities really changed from last month. And so I brought the cash flows in just to kind of show, our negative $3.1 million being our undercollected, our CIP spending, that 2.9 is our CIP spending. And then in our investing activities, you can see it's only negative $215,000, which that would have been where we would have saw the bond drawdown if we had had one. And then the bottom graph, I brought in some financial ratios just to kind of show y'all the financial position that we're in. So the operating ratio, let me back up. So I have the month of June, the month of May, and then I also have a comparison from the American Public Power Association. So I pulled comparisons from a similar size utility. So the operating ratio, it's going to be less than that industry average, which is a good thing because what that ratio is showing us is that every dollar that we earn, we're spending about 76 cents on expenses. So the lower that number is, the better. We want to be under the industry average there. For our current ratio, we're showing a 2.96. The industry average is 3.91. We are lower. That's still okay. So what this ratio is telling us is that for every dollar of current liabilities we have, we can cover that with our current assets almost 3 times over. So we're still doing pretty good there. And then the last metric we have is going to be our debt to total assets. So what this ratio is telling us is that for every dollar of debt we have, or every dollar we have in assets, we're carrying about 58 cents of debt. We are, a little bit higher than the industry average there. As y'all know, in the past year or so, we have taken on a lot of debt for our ERCOT transition. But a little bit later, I'm going to show some slides on our total debt. And, as we make payments, this ratio will get better over the years. Do y'all have any questions on anything over here before I move on? So with our income statement, we changed it up a little bit. Usually we compare to where we are last year, but now we're going to start comparing it to where we are to budget. So more of where we thought we would be and where we actually are. For our charges for services, we're coming in at about 73% of budget. At this time of the year, we should be at 75% of our budget, so we're doing pretty good there. For our purchase fuel and power, we're at 69% of budget. I'm thinking with purchase power costs being the way they are this summer, next month we're gonna see that number grow and we'll be at budget, if not a little bit over. In our T-cost revenues and our hold harmless payments, our T-cost revenue, I did tell you last month, will come in about 90% of budget just because how that is budgeted with, our 4CP, and we got a new one in January, so we'll come in about 90%, but our hold harmless payment will come at about 100% of our budget, so we'll be good on that. If you look at our operating income, we're only about $3.5 million off from our budget for the year, and we still have, 3 months left in the fiscal year, so we should meet that budget, if not exceed it. Any questions on any of this?
Questions?
Oh, a couple more. Okay, so this is going to be our total debt service for the years to come. So you can see in 2023, it's going to increase, and that's from the 2022 series bonds. And then again, it will increase again in 2024 when we issue the bond to get out of the agreement next year. And so what you see after that, we're going to start to decline as we make payments every year. And then what I wanted to show y'all for our total debt, so that red line is going to be our debt to asset ratio that I was talking about. So this graph and the metrics that I used is on the basis that our assets stayed the same as they are right now, and we didn't issue any more debt. So if you can see, I believe it's around the year 2032, we'd be right at the industry, average. But if our assets grow, and we don't issue any more debt, we'll meet that much sooner than the 2032. So you can just see that ratio declining through the years as we make payments on our debt. Anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Stafford?
Just one question on, if you'll go back to the other slide.
I don't know how to do that.
I'm sorry.
You're okay. Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Great. It looks like that the highest debt load will be in 2023. So we've done the 60, we still have that 77 million.
So this in 2023 would include the 77.
Okay, so that's in the 2023.
Yeah, because this is as of year end, so this would be year end 2023, and we would have already done the 77 as well.
Okay, and that's kind of the upper level. Then
Yeah.
from then on, we'll be going down, paying it back, the principal and the interest.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions or comments? Thank you, Casey.
All right, thank y'all.
So I just want to give the board an update on the bond sale last week. So this is for the issuance of the Series 22, and that's going to be that was for the up to $70 million that we were going to take out a bond issuance for to cover to collect money and the proceeds for the CIP work for the remaining integration of the 30% into ERCOT. We were originally going to do that on Thursday. And the reason why Thursday is because there was going to be CIP information or CPI information that would come out for inflation on Wednesday. Usually you don't want to go out to a bond sale when you've got that information kind of distracting. You come out after it. But in this case, the information coming out with CPI was favorable to bonds. So in June, CPI inflation index came out at 9.1. The news for July came out at 8.5. The market was actually looking at something that might be around 10%. So they were looking for bad news, and good news came in, and that's good news for bond yields. So it was a perfect day to go ahead and execute. We were able to sell the bond successfully. So our total debt outstanding, we had the up to for $70 million. We sold it for just under $64 million to get our proceeds of $60 million. And the good news also was we had forecasted an interest rate of 4.51%, so there was about a 50 basis point cushion in there. We budgeted on that. We actually were able to, when we went to the city council the day before the bond sale, we had we had an interest rate at 3.75% instead of 4.5. When we actually did the bond sale, we were able to sell it at 3.67, so we actually sold it less. So for debt service impact of that, the difference between the 4.51 and the 3.67 is just under $500,000 a year of debt service benefit to us. So that's significant. And even that small difference between 3.75 and the 3.67 is about $33,000 a year benefit, less debt service that we would have to pay. So we came out really good on that debt issuance. So I just want to give the board an update on that. We'll be collecting the proceeds, about $60 million in proceeds. It'll be coming to the city of Lubbock on September 7th, and we'll be able to start to draw on that immediately for the CIP work for remaining integration. Any questions?
Questions?
Yeah, sorry. Okay.
All right, that brings us to consent, unless anyone else had anything else for the regular items. Being none, that brings us to consent agenda, items 11 through 18. If none of those are pulled for specific questions, then we will approve items 11 through 18. I'll need a motion. Got a motion by Eddie, need a second? A second by Jane. All those in favor do so by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by the same. All right, the next item here is electric utility board tour of the City of Lubbock Utilities. I think Clint's going to take us over. What I need to know is who all is going to attend, because if not, we're going to, if we don't have a quorum, then we'll cancel, or we'll adjourn, not cancel. Yeah, we won't cancel, we're going. But Dan, I don't believe you're going. But you going? Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Pass. 5. So we're good. Quorum, 5 of us. So we'll do that, and then if anyone gets tucked away somewhere down there, let us know so we can adjourn. But if not, we will come back to the training room on item 19, which is where it says U101 training room.
It's over on the first.
Oh, it's over there. So we will meet over there, and that's where we'll talk with some of the staff, do those type things, and then we'll adjourn from there. So I don't know who's leading this bus or tour, but where do you want us? All right. Follow the leader.